I gave my parents a $450,000 lake house for their anniversary. When I showed up with cake to celebrate, my sister and her husband had already moved in and were kicking them out. I'm a neurosurgeon, 36 years old, and I basically live at the hospital. I save almost everything I earn because I grew up on overdraft fees and disconnection notices. I was the kid who learned to translate adult fear into something manageable. At 10 years old, I'd sit with my mom while she cried over unpaid rent and tell her, it'll be fine. I learned what emergencies taste like. I learned to be useful. My sister Megan is 2 years younger. She was the artist, the free spirit, the one who always needed just one more chance. And my parents did what they knew how to do. They protected her, made excuses, sacrificed. I did what I knew how to do. I covered it. Textbooks first, then a semester of tuition, then the down payment on her first apartment when her boyfriend's startup was about to launch. I paid for her oldest kid's braces when their dental insurance had some weird deductible. I co-signed a lease after an eviction. I bought her a used minivan when the bank said no. My parents helped too, in smaller ways. Mom would load groceries into Megan's trunk and call it cleaning out the pantry. Dad lent tools to her husband for repairs that always ended up costing more to fix. The chorus was always the same. You know your sister. Not everyone's like you, Ethan. You were born responsible. At some point, I became like a card you swipe without checking the balance. Every Venmo request looked the same. Every excuse sounded familiar. So when I found that little blue house above the lake, I planned it like surgery. Put the deed in a trust. My parents as lifetime beneficiaries. Paid property taxes for 20 years up front. Changed the locks. Stocked the fridge with their favorite foods. I left them a key and a note in the silverware drawer. For loud mornings and quiet coffee. Love you. I told them a week before their anniversary. We drove down together. Dad touched the banister like it was something sacred. Mom opened every cabinet and just breathed. Dad's voice cracked when he tried to speak, so I said it for him. It's yours, just yours. I spent the night on an air mattress to test the plumbing. Everything worked. I drove back to the city the next morning to decompress a tumor from a 7-year-old's brain. They kept the house. Then the system did what systems do. Megan called Mom on day 2. By dinner, she triangulated the address from a blurry sunset photo. Dad posted on Facebook, "Are you at a beach? Whose house is this?" Mom's a terrible liar. "Oh, we're visiting a friend." By Saturday, Megan showed up. Her husband, 2 kids, a dog, and an entitlement that filled the whole driveway. My dad texted me that morning. There's been some misunderstanding about the property. They just wanted to see it. Now they're staying for the weekend. Is that okay? I was scrubbed into surgery, so I couldn't answer. Then I saw Megan's Instagram post. A selfie in my parents' kitchen. Caption, home sweet home. Finally a place where the kids can be kids. Her friends started commenting. One from her husband, beach era. So deserved. I texted Dad as soon as I got out. Don't sign anything. Don't agree to anything. I'm coming. I drove straight down. I'd practiced calm phrases in my head. We'll reset this. We'll breathe. We'll set boundaries. Instead, I walked through the open door and heard her husband's voice upstairs. You two are old. Stairs are dangerous. This is a family house. We're family. We'll manage it. Mom was trying to explain. It's Ethan's gift. Megan cut her off. He gave it to you. You're giving it to us. Same difference. Her husband pointed at the view. Prime waterfront. Peak season. I already listed it this morning. Easy money. You two can use the basement on your days off. I looked at my dad's hands. They were shaking the way they do when he's angry but trying not to be. This was the same man who worked 3 jobs and still showed up to my high school concerts in a stained uniform. Now he was being told to step aside in a house he just learned was his. I set the cake down on the counter. When I spoke, my voice was steady, surgical. Who told you this was your house? Her husband rolled his eyes like I was slow. Megan laughed. Family money, family house. Don't be weird. I pulled out my phone. On the screen was the trust document, the deed, screenshots of the Airbnb listing she'd posted that morning, the HOA regulations she'd violated, and a text thread I'd saved where she told a friend, "We'll guilt him about med school loans. He always caves when Mom cries." Then I called the locksmith who'd been parked 2 houses down since I hit the Bestard in Byers How to a Gaines of highway. I gave them 1 hour to pack and leave, or I'd file with the HOA board, the county, and have them forcibly removed for illegal rental activity. They left screaming. My parents stayed and finally breathed in their own home.